Hey guys, this is Chelsea. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about DiDi. It just came out a few days ago and it stars a little boy who is growing up in America, has Asian American. And Luby's family is Taiwanese and he's going from middle school to high school, so he's transitioning in that summertime period. It's very much coming of age. That's exactly what this movie is. It's also a really good deep dive into cultural differences coming from another country, coming to America, and figuring out how to grow up here, how it's different than Taiwan, I'm sure, and just finding friends and also trying to find yourself as well. But it's a big mess, it's convoluted, it's chaotic, but that is what adolescence is. So let's go ahead and get into my thoughts. This is going to be more of an analysis, so there will be spoilers in here. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to the major points. I like that we are obviously viewing this through the eyes of DiDi, him trying to find a girlfriend, for example, and his friendships, but we also see the people around him who are also trying to grow up as well, like his mom and his sister, his different friend groups. They are all trying to become adults, and there's not really one person who stands out as being more knowledgeable than the other. It just seems like everyone is trying to figure it out and do their best, but in trying to figure out and do their best, they're also trying perhaps too hard, and that can be very isolating when you're just focusing on yourself and how you're coming across to other people. And DiDi, like, he says a lot of things that are not nice. He is just kind of fumbling through life, and like I said, everyone around him is also doing this, so everyone is also like mirroring one another, especially DiDi's sister, who's going off to college. She's also going through this transition period. DiDi's mom is trying to be a single mom, living with DiDi's grandma at home, and her husband is off at work and not at home a lot. So there's people around him who are also trying to just survive and to do this life, and he feels isolated because he feels like he's messing up at every turn. He's always saying the wrong thing, he's always doing the wrong thing. He's trying to, of course, impress his friends and impress girls at this point, so he's really just, he's messing up a lot, and when he messes up, he kind of has to push it down because he's not sure what he's doing wrong. He's just like trying to figure it out, but of course when he says the wrong thing, that can anger him, and this builds up a lot, and then it comes to a head when there's a bully who's saying some messed up things to him, and then he ends up punching that person. And it's like, that's not an isolated incident because there's a lot that happened up until this point, but the only way he knows how to express himself is to be violent and to perhaps, act out. And that's definitely just a part of growing up, but he's also, confronted with the idea of him being a representation of his family and his mom being embarrassed, and there's all these layers that he has to consider while growing up, but also he's trying to just focus on himself and figure out what he wants, right? And there's also this element too of him being in America and figuring out, like, because he's embarrassed of his culture, unfortunately, and when he meets new friends, he says that he's half Asian instead of completely Asian. And then when his friends come over, they meet his mom and he gets embarrassed by his mom. And also when his American friends come over, they don't take off their shoes in the house. So he's also trying to figure out that side of himself too, like wanting to be proud of his culture, but also wanting to fit in America. And this is a really intriguing part to the story because I obviously don't know what that world is like, but it was nice to have that glimpse into what perhaps it might be like to have a different culture and grow up in America. And it's not like his friends are like telling him that he should be embarrassed about this, but the way that they treat him is also showing him that it's something that he should be ashamed of. Like when he meets the new girl Maddie, she's like, "Oh, you're cute for an Asian," which is like not a cool thing to say to somebody, obviously. And his friends are like calling him Asian Chris, for example. So it's like the world around him is also teaching him a lot about what he should or should not be ashamed of, and like he takes on a lot of that. And the film is like very multi-layered in that way, and it was just really, I feel like it did it in such a poignant way, and it wasn't like stuffing all of these conflicts down our throat or like trying to like beat us over the head with it. I feel like it was very nuanced in the way that they brought these issues up for Chris and how difficult his coming of age story really is. And so like all this messiness, all things that he's going throughout this film, it really just brought to light how messy adolescence is and how messy childhood is. But also, I love that this film didn't really have a resolution. It wasn't like at the end there was this big epiphany and he changed and like everything was right again. It was like messy at the beginning, the middle, and the end. And at the end, he goes to high school. He sees his old friends across the courtyard, and you don't know if they're going to be friends again. You don't know if like they're going to rekindle that friendship or not. You don't know where Chris is going to go from here, really. And I felt like Chris befriended adolescence and befriended the conflicts of growing up and the messiness of it. It's like he befriended his childhood in a way. And we know that he's going to go through this messiness again. He's going to go through that throughout his adulthood, right? Like life is messy. And so it felt like he came to an understanding of him growing up, but here it felt like the messiness was going to continue, but Chris was going to be okay because he knew that he could handle it and that he could handle all the things that he went through throughout the movie, him trying to, perhaps be a filmmaker and explore that artistic side of himself. And when he went to high school, he signed up for a visual arts club. So it's like piece by piece, he's coming to do the things that he wants without apologizing for it and without feeling the need to make anyone else come to his side. And he just really embraced piece by piece who he was and who he was growing up to be. And I feel like that was really a poignant part of this film. And it really just, he's like very easy to love, he's like very easy to be captivated by and to watch. And all that being said, it's not a film that I feel like I would watch again. It's just, I feel like I watched it once, I got what I needed from it, and it's not really something that I feel like I need to revisit or come back to. Although it was really nice watching it and having that sort of nostalgic moment, because there was a lot of elements of the internet coming through, right? This was the 90s, so we have MySpace, we have AOL chat, we have like the door opening and closing when someone comes in and out of the chat. And those parts were just like really warm to my heart, just like going back to the time before social media and when the internet felt like it was just like a fun thing to explore and no one really took it that seriously. And so I really liked that part of it. And also when he was recording the skateboarders with his camcorder and uploading those clips and stuff, like all of that was just it was like kind of like a warm hug, and I really liked seeing that part of the film as well. But yeah, it was definitely a surprise because my sister told me about this a few months ago, about this film, and I hadn't heard of it, and then it just popped up on Cinemark, so I was like, okay, let's go see it. And there was only 2 times available, so if that gives you any inclination of how perhaps not A-list this film is, but I feel like the production value was there. I feel like it was really well done, and I feel like the main actor for DiDi did a really good job. And even though he didn't have a whole lot of lines, I feel like his presence was really felt through the screen, and especially when he had those very emotional, cathartic moments, it felt very angsty, and I feel like he hit that nail on the head very well. But yeah, that is my analysis / review of DiDi. I do think it's a really good film to go watch if you are feeling nostalgic and feeling perhaps a little bit teenager angsty. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.